Looks like we're not recording.
Good evening, welcome to the Goffstown Capital Improvement Committee's meeting. We are a subcommittee of the Goffstown Planning Board responsible for slotting requests from department heads and committees into a matrix to project expenses out for 6 years, in an effort to try to prevent tax spikes because the purchases are not arranged correctly in order for level tax funding. We'll begin with an introduction, starting with Jim.
Jim Craig, Select Board Rep.
Jack Carbonell, School Board Rep.
Colleen Mayu, Member at Large.
Tim Redmond, Planning Board.
Samantha Kearns, Budget Committee Rep.
Brad Parkhurst, Member at Large.
Joanne Duffy, Planning and Economic Development Director.
Jim Raymond.
Jim Raymond is a community member.
Yes.
Jim Raymond, welcome.
It was perfect timing.
Well, not quite perfect, but
I think this is the earliest it's ever gotten.
no.
So before we, before we get started, the Parks Department, we spoke with him at a prior time, and he has added some things into the request sheets for the Barnard pool replacement, which he omitted, and for the total estimate for the Barnard tennis and pickleball replacement. So we'll just add them into your matrix tonight at the Parks and Rec page, and we can come back to them if anybody has any questions later in the meeting. And as well for the library who is presenting tonight, the library director has presented us with an updated sheet for the exterior window replacement. It is a reduced amount from the prior request, so that needs to replace the sheet that's in there for $90,000 because I'll let her explain why she submitted it. That's the only two items to add to your book tonight. We'll move on to the minutes from July 18th. If anybody has taken the time to read them and would like to make a motion, I'll accept the motion.
Also move to accept them.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Does anybody have any corrections or omissions they'd like to add to the record? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes.
I believe we also
Yeah,
have
do
two
we-
other
yeah.
sets of minutes.
Okay, which are they?
20 and
June
30th?
20th and May 30th.
July the 20th?
June 20th
June 20th.
and May 30th.
June 20th, May 30th. So we'll go back to May 30th of '24. We had not voted on these minutes, so does anybody have any corrections? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Also move.
Seconded by?
I'll second.
Second by Jack. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. We also have minutes from June 20th. Does anybody have any changes or corrections to them? Seeing none, somebody say it.
I'll say it. I'm so moved to accept them.
Anybody want a second? Jack will second. Thank you, Jack. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. We voted on the minutes of the 20th, and that brings us up to date with the minutes of July the 18th. So I think we have all of our minutes approved up to
We're
today.
good, yep.
Thank you. So, we'll move on to our first presentation tonight. It's the library, so we'd ask library director to please come and take a chair. We all know who you are, but for the record, please.
For the record, I am Diane Hathaway. I am your library director.
Welcome.
Thank you. How do you want me to start? You just want me to...
Let's start with the page that we submitted for $40,000, how it
Yep.
changes from the prior page, Diane.
This is the 2025 request for our library window restoration project. Those of you who've heard me speak for the last few years know that our windows are 115 years old. The library was built in 1909. It is on the National Register of Historic Places, and we've never restored the windows, and that's what this project's about. We did introduce it last year when we were talking about a capital reserve fund, so that's the first time that it was made public. The original request included a rebuild of library shelving, because if you've been on the second floor, in the south room, there's a bank of shelves that cover the windows. So those shelves have to come down and then be rebuilt afterwards, because the restoration of the windows occurs on the interior, not the exterior. So that amount was removed because it was under the threshold, and I decided, because the trustees, I didn't ask them, but I removed it because of the amount, which was about $10,000, and we're not subject to the LCHIP application process, so.
So originally it was for 90,000?
It was for $90,000 originally.
It's in your book, Brad.
Full
It's
disclosure,
in the
the
book.
amount I
No,
added for the shelving was, I didn't have any idea, I just threw that number on there, so I had a, kind of a placeholder, knowing that I would have to correct it once I got my estimate. So, yeah, so that's why I changed it, and you have the new form for $40,000. You're welcome.
So we need to go to our matrix. What page was that on, Brad? What line number?
Three.
Page 3 of 9 and was it
Towards the bottom.
135?
So the number that's
Seven.
in there for
137.
90 needs to be changed to 40.
Oh, yeah, 137, okay.
And that next line down needs to be changed to 40. Okay. And then the bottom line needs to get changed, right?
The red one.
So-
has to be-
We had window restoration on line 137. And then we had another 142 shows the same amount. Did we have it twice?
No, that's showing it as
That does.
a revenue or tax appropriation, so it's sort of being shown in 137, I think, is the cost. 142 looks like it's assuming an appropriation, but in that case, it would be zeroing out. Like, I'm not understanding how this.
I don't
spreadsheet's
understand
Is-
how these are in.
Is
put
the
in.
goal
Yeah.
of the window restoration to achieve it through an LCHIP grant?
LCHIP only pays 50%.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a 50% match, so the goal is that if we don't receive LCHIP grant money, that we would still be able to complete the project. And that's
Okay.
why it's 40,000. So if we were to get 50% from LCHIP, then we would only need 20,000 from the town.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Well-
think that that's how it relates to our matrix.
Well, we'll have to ask our finance person, or actually Danielle, to check the math on that whole column all the way down to the 130 and see if that's all correctly accounted for. Because if Diane's only asking for 40,000, subtotal for library projects after the revenues is at 130. She's not asking for 130,000.
Right.
So
It
she's
looks
got
like
some numbers
Looks
mixed
like
up
the
in there.
revenue was 40 from half of the 90, sorta, you know? or-
Right,
Typically, you ask for the full amount and then you have
right.
it
Yeah.
offset.
But
But
100
it would be
Where it's coming
offsetting,
from.
it wouldn't be
Adding.
adding. I don't understand why the
No,
revenue
it'd
is
just be
being.
offsetting.
Adding.
Well, the
Adding.
number is
Right.
too high at the bottom of the page at 130,000.
Yeah.
The good news is I don't think that this is a you problem. I think it's an us
Yeah.
math problem.
I'm sitting here just
Yeah.
calm and, I don't, just listen to you
Yeah.
talk.
If it's not corrected, then it's gonna throw the whole matrix off for the
Yeah.
final numbers at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, we have to get Danielle to look at that. Well, if you only got 115 years out of your windows,
Yeah, I don't know.
you'd be the only person in this whole town that got 115 years out of it.
Honestly, that building is still in really good shape. I mean, the things that we're talking about doing, I have this for 2025 and then 2026, having the brick repointed and things like that. I mean, to my knowledge, and I don't know for sure, I don't think it's ever been done before. There's been spots that look like they've been done. I will tell you, it's very challenging to find craftsman who can work on a historic brick building. I will tell you that right now. It's, have spent a lot of time trying to get people to come and look at the building and give estimates, so it's very specialized.
So Diane, you're only projecting out 2 years at this time?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Diane?
So I know that there was a lot of other talk about like other interior restoration ideas, like bathrooms and the gold leaf thing. Are those, you just don't have them marked out for future years?
That's correct. We don't have pricing for one thing.
Okay.
And we don't have the ability to do multiple projects in one year. You
Right,
know, like
'cause it's
this
so
year we
small.
did painting, and we'll be doing, what else are we doing this year? We're doing something else this year. We're replacing the roof and having the elevator shaft, the clapboards changed out because we have a leak. So that will be done, but those are Invest New Hampshire grant money, so that's different. Everything else is prioritized, so, and I just don't have pricing for that, and based upon what we heard from the community, if we don't have a price, it's hard to
Yeah.
even talk about it.
Right.
So, but we have a list, the roof, elevator shaft, windows, exterior masonry repointing, those are the top 3, so those are the ones I've been working on. Carpeting on number 4, I have pricing for that, but that's, we're gonna look at other money for that.
Well,
So-
Diane, even if you don't have accurate pricing, it doesn't hurt to put in a placeholder in the matrix so that we know that you're planning stuff in the out years, even if the price doesn't correctly reflect the accurate price, because you can
Yeah.
upgrade that annual as you come.
Yeah, I understand that, but it has impacted us negatively to use prices that were not accurate.
But we're not going to hold you to them. That's the
No,
point.
you're not gonna hold me to them, but, so I've been very careful this year about throwing numbers out that I wasn't
Okay.
sure about.
We just like to see, as best you can, projecting
Yeah.
a few years out, so for our planning purposes.
Yeah, I mean, the library has a foundation now, and so we're talking about who we're gonna go to for money too, because the foundation has enough money now to start paying for projects, so there's a lot of dialogue on the board level about who we're gonna ask for it, what kind of grants we're gonna apply for.
Well, you have to have that other half in the bank for a grant. So that's good.
Exactly,
That's really
and
good.
that hurt us last year because we didn't have matching money, so we're trying to do this a little bit more methodically.
Thank you.
I guess this is does each project have to be separated from each other, or can they be grouped together by like types?
They can bundle projects.
So like there's 3 bathrooms, 3 different floors.
Well,
I
they
don't think
probably
there's
only
3
want to
floors of
renovate
bathrooms,
one
but there's
bathroom
2.
at a time so that the
Right.
other ones are usable. That's what
Right.
I'm hearing from Diane.
But you could technically bundle that all together into one, like bathrooms project, even though it's 2 different locations.
No, you're supposed to use the money in the year you appropriate it for.
Okay.
That would be the correct way to figure
Yeah,
it.
but you
As a-
could, in the same year, you could bundle.
Right.
You know, three bathrooms in one year.
Well, if you thought you could get all 3 bathrooms done in 1 year.
No,
but-
but
Well, we
Also,
only
there's
have
only 2.
2 toilets in
Right.
I mean, let's not get crazy about the bathroom situation, you know?
Okay.
we're
One of
talking
the
about
things-
outhouses.
We have to really weigh too is our capacity as an organization and as a building to do these projects.
Right.
You know, our painting project, we had to close for part of that and inconvenience the public for the rest of it because it was a 2-week project. So there's only so much we want to do to prevent the public from using their library too.
Yeah.
So trying to balance it all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Diane? Well, Diane, since you have such a very short list, I doubt if you're going to be called back for more questioning.
I will be waiting with bated breath to see if you want to talk to me again, Tim.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in, Diane.
All right, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, the next presenter is the sewer department.
Where are they?
Oh, there's one somewhere.
Hidden red tab
On the
online.
last page.
That's right.
No, 5. Sorry,
No,
not the
we
last page,
actually,
5.
we have sewer starts on line 91.
Oh, because they got vehicles.
Yep. But then they go to projects later, so we'll see how they start. Looks like in our worksheet, we're starting with the rehab. Is that what you have to start with, Corey?
Yes.
So for the record, please.
Corey White, Sewer Superintendent.
Thank you for coming. I'd like you to begin, please.
So our replacement projects are, it's almost the same as last year, seeing that 2023 we weren't able to get Albert Street done. Everything got pushed a year.
Before you begin, could you please explain your funding sources for the general public and everyone else?
So the Goffstown Sewer Department is funded by user fees, not tax dollars. So all the money that comes in by their sewer bills is what funds us. Saying that, we try to keep all our projects between 5 and 700,000 to make sure that we aren't overspending for what we're taking in. The projects for the next 6 years, it's an entire neighborhood for now that we're looking at. It's all Higgins Street, Plummer Street. It's all the flats where the old landfill, around where the old landfill was. Every bit of sewer line in that neighborhood it's flat as a pancake, and it's all old clay. And it goes like this. And as we all know, water likes to flow downhill, and it's very flat. It's a lot of breakage. It's just in horrible condition. So we've gone through and we try to break it up into like 700 feet a year. Next year, 2025, Higgins Street, that's one of the worst streets out there. And then we continue that whole neighborhood as a breakdown, another portion of Higgins Street, and then you have 3 side streets that tie into it. So you kind of try to work your way down the entire block. So that's basically, there's really not a lot to it.
Could you explain to how the sewer department tries to work in conjunction with the highway department?
So the highway department has their road plan for the year, and as much as possible we try to be on the same page with Public Works, and so we can all, everybody that shares the right of way, we can go in, all do our stuff at the same time. So not one person is probably stuck rebuilding an entire street. Everybody goes in, upgrades their infrastructure at the same time, and is done. We try to be on the same page as much as possible, but over the years, things have shifted where our infrastructure, where it's most needed to be replaced, is on one section, and then when you drive down roads that are DPW's looking at are in other sections. So it's tough to stay in the same plane, but we're working towards everybody doing the same road at the same time, because it just makes it, in the long run, it's more cost friendly to do it all at the same time.
I just wanted to have you put that on the record, Corey, because we talked with Adam about the same thing. We had the exact same discussion with Adam, and I just wanted to make sure that you put it on the record that it comes from the sewer department as well.
Absolutely, and we've all been, after the Albert Street Sewer project, which we did this year, between Scott Ozana, myself, and Adam, and you, we've been discussing trying to work better as a whole to accomplish, get a better product at the end of the day for our customers and the taxpayers.
Anybody have any questions about the 6 years of planned sewer replacement projects in Bernardville? All right. We don't have a submission sheet for the truck that you had in the matrix. You have a truck in the matrix?
Yes, you should
We
have.
don't have a submission sheet for that for some reason. Before we're done here, could you make sure that one gets printed and given to us from
can-
either Danielle? Oh, you have one with you?
Yeah, if you want to take this one, you can keep this one and make copies.
Well, not everybody has it. I think I'll ask staff to take that from you and copy it and bring it to our next meeting.
Okay.
But could you just, I know the number is in the matrix, not line 91, if you could explain what's going on for
So-
25?
We are looking to replace the 2015 Ford pickup truck that we have now. It's at the 10-year mark. It's higher mileage now, and it's lived a hard life between Public Works. That was a shared truck between Public Works and sewer for many years, so that truck has seen a lot of snow and plowing. And we're trying to, we've dealt with rust issues with it in the past. A couple of years ago, it went and had rust repair, but it's back again. And also, it's a diesel. We're trying to get away from diesel. They're super expensive to fix. We'd like to transition more into a gas truck. It's far more efficient, better fuel mileage. We're looking to get into probably another Dodge to match the one that we already have. It's easier for DPW, the garage, to do any necessary repairs and services. And we're looking to pretty much,
Which we reimburse DPW for. We don't get our vehicles fixed at Public Works for free.
nope, we get reimbursed for everything over there. So we're looking to get another Dodge, like a 3500. It's kind of a 1-ton with a lift gate and a new V-plow on it. The lift gate is essential for us at the sewer department because now we work out of a pickup truck, which is, the tailgates are relatively high, and the frames and covers that you see in the street, the manhole covers, they're really heavy. So a lift gate is very handy, like days like today where we're on East Union Street. They come and they raise the structures so that they can come and pave around them for the final coat. You're lugging those things around in the back of a pickup truck or trying to roll them on a trailer. Lift gate is really nice. You can just slide them right on, up it goes, and right in the back of a truck.
It also prevents injuries, which is the biggest point.
Absolutely. And we're looking to just do another Boss V-plow. We have that now on the truck that I drive mostly. Great plow, built well, better than the Fisher in my opinion. And that's about.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Shoot.
Brad.
First of all, I noticed you out on East Union Street this morning. Right?
I saw you out there.
I know.
He wasn't riding a bicycle reading the paper, was he?
No, he was in the window.
Okay, good.
I always take a look at, well, now what are they doing? Although Mike had already come by and told me they were gonna be working on the street. Anyway, now that plow, does it get used for, to help DPW or mostly for your stuff?
No, it's mainly just for the sewer department, and we have 4 pump stations around town.
Thank you. Okay.
What happened with the sewer department, just very briefly, is it was completely separated from the highway department about
Okay.
3 years ago. So we don't share staff and we don't share the VACCON anymore or anything like that. We've sort of become an independent group. And it's working.
Okay. I forgot you were on
Yeah,
sewer commission. Probably should have asked you.
that's fine.
I asked you both.
Corey's here to make the presentation. I'm just adding in a little
Oh,
bit.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Samantha?
So, I know you're gonna have to pardon some of my ignorance here with the
Oh,
truck,
that's fine.
but I look at a truck with 103,000 miles, and I'm like, my car has 200,000 miles. Like 103,000 miles isn't really that much.
So, and I will even agree with you. But in the aspect of a pickup truck that was used by Public Works, that has plowed every snowstorm for 10 years, it gets abused.
Okay.
It's highly abused, and you chase rust because it's
Okay.
in the salt non-stop.
Okay.
So we have already had the bed sides repaired once, lasted 2 years, and they're rotted again. So it's at the point where, do you bring it back and spend or buy another bed for it?
Right.
But it's a 2015 we've even looked at, before even submitting any of this, buying a bed, just to put a new bed on it. They're impossible to find because it's 10 years old. And if you can find one, you have to bring it to a body shop and throw another $5,000 into it for them to fix it. So it's not cost effective, really, when you think
Right.
about it, because the rest of, even though the bed's rotten, you look at the rest of the truck and it's all starting to get very crispy.
Do you guys count, like I know the police department counts like time miles,
Hours.
or hours, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, time miles.
So when we put fuel in that truck, it's in, or the other truck we have, it's all done by hours, not mileage.
Okay,
So it sounds like to me, it got a lot of use DPW before it really came to you.
Exactly, yes.
okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh, sorry. The 2019 Dodge Ram, you don't have a number for that one?
That
on
will,
the- On this matrix?
because that will be, that, we've only had it,
2029?
yeah, we haven't,
Okay.
well, we got it, it's only 2 years we've had that truck, and if you doing the math with the other one,
Yeah,
that one shouldn't even come up for another 7, 8 years.
okay.
So this is more like Tim was saying, where they put both vehicles on the matrix. even though it
Yes,
may be
Danielle
one.
had said you put both in the matrix.
Okay.
And this also works to the end that the sewer department is not replacing two vehicles back to back.
Right, yeah.
They're gonna be 8 or 10 years apart, so that the blow to the sewer users to
Yeah.
purchase a vehicle is less of an expense than it is if you bought two at the same time.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we weren't like forgetting a number in here or something.
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, any other questions for the sewer department, please, from board members, committee members? Seeing none, we'll say thank you, Corey, and have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
All right, folks, we have completed all of our departmental presentations, and we generally proceed with deliberations at the 15th, but that only gives us one meeting to do our deliberations before we have to submit to the planning board. So, I want to ask Jim, since Jim was the chair in a couple of years that I've been missing. Jim, do you review the priorities, or do you leave priorities alone?
We review them, I call it lightly, in that as we've gone through them, as they're presented, we've questioned, but we found, at least in the 2 years I was chair, that the priority listings were generally appropriate. And we've, unlike some of the bad old days, we weren't going to just change a priority for budgetary reasons. You know, priority is a priority, and they were fairly accurate. So it's worth looking at them, but we were not, there weren't many times when we changed it. In fact, typically, the changes were to increase, make it a greater priority, because the department chairs were more worried about budget matters when they put it in, and we've said as a board in a couple of events, I think the safety-related radios, for example, said, geez, it sounds like we should get those sooner, not later. So we increased the priority. I think it looked up the taxpayers actually decided to spend the money, of course. So, sort of yes and no, Tim, but we haven't had to give it the focus that prior boards did.
All right, so let me ask this. Does anybody have any glaring problems with the way we have had our departments suggest that the numbers be placed in the years? And I suggest we look at page 5 of 9. The second pink line is the total town vehicles and projects after the revenues. And one of our goals of CIP is to try to level fund things over long periods of time. And I see the numbers are extremely close to each other, other than 29, which I think includes, what is in 29? Is that the year the school is requesting a large? No, that's a town number. I don't know why
Got a line
20
Police,
The
We've got a
police
big
building?
floor
Police building.
trailer.
Which
No, because
one?
it's just the vehicles, right?
No, that's the entire capital projects and vehicles combined.
Oh, so you're at
So the
the-
police station's asking for a
Police station,
$31 million building that year, which is why we're right around between 4 and 5 million that year, which is in comparison with all the other years as you look across.
Yeah.
So there's nothing really out of line here in terms of maintaining equal funding over a long period of time. So with that said, I'll ask any committee members if they'd like to make any comments regarding their opinions on the matrix or the presenters, if we should be considering moving anything.
I think what we did is a couple of times when you thought, or someone thought a priority was not the right priority, we asked the presenter, and then it was changed once we got a new matrix and everything. I don't remember which specific one, but I remember that coming up in conversation.
Well,
So I'm thinking we kind of addressed a lot of this during the presentation.
I think we asked a lot of good questions during the presentations. And honestly speaking, I find that this year's process with me being gone for a while was much easier than prior years because it seemed like everything was much better presented and the department heads are doing a better job of trying to, keep things in line instead of the sort of up and downhill roller coaster approach which we had in prior years, where we would be 9 million this year and we'd be 3 million next year and we'd be 12 million the following year.
I think having the budget not pass last year made them a little more sensitive to the political aspects. Not that that's not our job, but they have to be mindful. And they may have been a little more conservative in some of their requests than they might have been previously, but also as a result, it spread out some of the expenses.
But we made it easier for them, recommended. Remember all the verbiage they had to add
Yeah.
to each request? Well, we said, no,
You don't need all
just,
that.
put it down the nuts and bolts and go with that.
Well, I opened my, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Which I think they appreciate.
Yeah.
I opened my handbook, our CIP handbook, to page 11, which is the priority 1 through 6 and the explanation for each of those priorities. It's right in the very beginning of your book. And I don't see a lot of premature or inconsistent ones. I see several deferrables, which is a good thing. I do see a premature the library, which is the new building. I don't see a lot of, mostly they're 2s and 3s, which is where this year's request should be, 2s and 3s.
You shouldn't have a lot of ones if you planned well and you haven't had any
Well,
disasters.
be careful how you say that, because all of DPW's 25 requests are all 1s,
Yeah, well, it's partially, how they assess it, but
except for 1, there's a 2 mixed in there.
yeah, the vehicles are, pretty much on a,
Oh, that's because that's 26, that's not 25.
but they're on a replacement schedule for the vehicles, so it's pretty much, people expect that. And then a lot of the highway maintenance, although it did get deferred, so there's some higher priorities now as a result from the fall budget, as a consequence.
So I personally am looking at all the numbers, and I think the numbers are assigned properly for most all the projects for the town side. I'm not gonna move to the school page yet.
Mr. Chair, the Parks and Recs just added over $4 million to the
Yeah, but that was in 2028,
28.
so we're not gonna even worry about that right now.
And we asked them to do that.
I know, but I just wanted to know.
Yeah, and was the number for the pickleball court at 470 in our matrix now?
Look,
Police.
It's 470.
Yeah, it's 470.
So that sheet must have been missing from our packet, and he just submitted the sheet to back up his conversation.
Yeah, it looks like when Danielle updated this matrix, she got the $4 million in 2028 for the pool and the 470 for the pickleball courts, both updated, so.
couldn't find the parks because I don't have it colored like all the other headers are for the other ones. I got it.
Where in the, you're looking where on the sheet it is, on page 4?
Page 4,
Yeah,
line
pickleball is
170.
166 is pickleball.
All the other ones are
162.
thicker, and yours just isn't thicker.
Okay, good.
All right. So I would ask this committee to, on a voice, just a voice vote of yea or nay, do we need to fool with any of the priorities?
I'll move that we recommend to the planning board the town CIP as presented and as reflected in the matrix.
So-
Second that.
So if Jim's motion passes, we won't be going backwards to talk about it anymore.
I don't think we need to.
Everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Motion's been made to present the, to accept and present the town 25 to 30 matrix capital improvement program to the planning board as recommended by the CIP committee.
And I
Did I
think
say that kind of
the
long
only
way?
change is the
The
library.
numbers, yeah.
Yeah, with the changes we made today.
Okay.
But they're incorporated in this matrix, yep.
Yeah,
Right, but they're mapped.
Well, they're not in here right now,
no.
because the library still says 90, it really
Oh,
should
I'm
be 40.
sorry.
That
So just
little-
those-
that little thing at the
Daniel
bottom of the
wrote that
library needs to be
Correction on the
corrected.
library.
Right.
And we'll get a new number for the subtotal from that
Yeah,
correction in that column.
I'll second his motion.
Brad beat you to it.
Oh, he did, you did.
Sorry.
Can't hear anymore anyways.
So there's a motion on the floor by Jim, seconded by Brad. We all know what it is. If there's any discussion on the motion, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. So that means there's no callbacks from any of the town departments. So let's go over to the schools matrix, beginning on page 6. I was confused by the way this matrix was presented to us because it seems that the school took all their projects and moved them to the 28-29 bond that they want to ask for, and they're not asking to do anything hardly at all in the years leading up to them. And I don't know why that was presented that way. Jack, do you have answers to that?
I do not have answers directly for that
No.
right now.
I would have, I mean, they have some stuff.
Yeah,
At
they have
Mountain
little-
View.
They have the stuff, and they have the
And generator.
technical stuff that they were looking to do in the ongoing projects that they were doing.
But basically Bartlett, Maple Ave, and Glen Lake are pretty much all held out for the 28-29 bond or whatever they're looking for,
Right.
All the schools.
which carries on down through Mountain View and the high school. But 25-26 does have some projects, which is great. But I'm
It seems
not
very,
understanding the accounting, but that's not my job to understand. Now, where are we with the school? Let's go to this, I want to go to the last line. And they have the same thing, about 6 million or so going across until we get to 28, and even 29.
Yeah, yeah. If you look on page 9, the yellow, the non-bonded, they're similarly, they go up in the later years, but it's not surprising. For the next 3 years. Even
So
next
Jim,
4
am I
years.
looking at line 325?
336 is the non-bonded. Those stay pretty level, so it's the bonded amount in year 28, 29 that is the big number.
And there's a big jump in, yeah,
Are you on the
30.
school matrix?
Yeah, so I'm looking at page 9 of 9.
Page 9, Brad?
And let's have a political calculus on there. Our concern was, what if the bond doesn't pass, right?
Yeah, then all those projects have been left undone for like 3 or 4 years. And if they need to be done, unless they're anticipating they'll need to be done
I think the
out
ones
there,
that need to be done,
are in the
they-
matrix?
They put in the matrix, but I think the idea is that asking for a bond and a bond you know, asking for big bonds multiple years in a
Well, the-
row is
can-
like you're just asking for wants instead of need.
So is the 28 to 29 bond for the new school, is that what that number was for?
That's the big part of it, yes.
But I mean, the largest part of it is
Right.
the new school.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, where is that line?
That's on page 257 on page 7,
Yeah,
the new middle school.
So 70 million?
yeah.
Yeah. So
There it
there's,
So that is the one that,
So that's the big number for 28, 29. What's the big number for the next year that brings it up to 36,000? Million, excuse me. Not thousand,
No, yeah. I
36,000.
was just gonna ask that.
We do that in our sleep, Brad.
Let me get him a break.
Yeah, thank you. That is 29 to 30. 29. Oh, maybe it's all the blue numbers added up, which is the other proposed bond. It's all those blue numbers that are in there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And what was that described, as a maintenance bond to us? Or did we not even get into that?
I don't remember
Blue
getting
numbers
into
are
that.
revenue.
It says bond. They're all bond numbers, they're blue.
Yeah.
And the proposed type is a bond,
Yeah,
and then they're blue in the column
yeah,
where they're proposed to be spent.
that's right.
The budget numbers are in gray.
So I don't know why is the number in year
Um,
20,
Is it to do with the,
2029, 30 so
I don't know,
large?
'cause it's saying
well, that's so
bond,
far out right
not
now,
the-
we don't have to worry about
Not
it.
the
Yeah.
grant money.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Question on your matrix you're looking at, what's the date on the one you have?
8/1 of 24, the brand new one we just got.
It's the same pack we were looking at earlier, the last couple pages.
That's the one we were looking at today, Brad.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't understand that figure on the, as you said, it's the outline, yes, maybe we don't care, but it just, what's the 36
And then there's,
million?
line 231 is the explore the full-day kindergarten, that's 7.5 million alone. On page 6, 2 lines up from the bottom. 4 lines up.
I'm sorry, are you looking at line 332?
I'm in the school matrix,
Right, so on the very last page.
no, I'm looking at page 6 at this time. I'm
Okay.
pointing out there's a
But-
$7.5 million request in
But
28.
but I was looking at that in line 332 on,
Because that's everything, that's the town and the school, and the school is
Uh-oh.
the 28, and then the
Oh,
police
okay,
department
I'm sorry,
is
yeah.
the 20. No, I was trying to figure it out too.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be looking at 2930.
yeah,
I'm looking
okay.
at the wrong line, I'm sorry.
This is new school.
So where is the expense that brings it up to 36 million?
The new police department.
Yeah, so
But that-
that's
this
the
is-
30.
Oh, this is
Because that
total,
bottom line
Total,
has the
right.
police, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The 332 is everything.
oh, that's both town and school, thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So we're not, so I think the concern we had for that last year is misplaced. And it's really a political, I guess, assessment by the school whether to bond those, and I'm not sure it's our job to say.
No, I'm not saying it's our
Sure.
job. I'm
Yeah,
trying
I'm
to
just a
figure
little
out where the
concerned.
money's,
I am a little concerned, though, if it's a capital need and the bond doesn't pass, what happens? But all we can do is present the need. It's up to the taxpayers and their
Well-
wisdom and what they do with it.
And I think it looks
most of
like,
those, yeah, they're threes too, you know.
yeah, their department priorities seem to reflect it. So
Okay.
all those things that are included in the bond are that, you
They're all
know,
threes, which are
Threes, so-
desirable.
And, okay, and they're out enough, so,
Yeah.
okay.
but,
Yeah, by the time, 2 years from now, they moved up to a 2, so,
yeah.
okay. So I'd like to make the same motion.
I would like to have you hold your motion for a second. Does everybody realize that we would be done with this committee if Jim's motion passes tonight? I don't mind being done, but I don't want to be premature in not fully discussing things and being criticized publicly for not fully vetting these items.
How does that affect the presentation to the planning
It
board?
doesn't affect anything, Brad, it
I
just,
mean, do we have to be there, or you? or-
nobody has to come. All committee members are invited to come when I make
That's my
the
question.
recommendation. If in the past, everyone has been assigned a topic, department to speak to, I'm happy to continue that tradition if that's what the committee wants to do.
That's what we've done the
It's
last.
kind of fun.
We've done it at least the last couple of years, but I'm thinking for, just, if it's easier, we seem to be in pretty much in agreement on
All right, so
what's
we
been
need,
presented that was.
So-
But I just want to address Tim's concern, because we've been criticized by certain people saying, we've just accepted what the department chair.
rubber stamped.
Yeah, and I agree, we don't want to give that impression. On the other hand, if they made proper presentations, we're not going to change them just to change them. So
I don't think anybody's asking for anything that is out of line or crazy.
Right.
that's why I made the motion, because I think it's well presented and documented. So we don't need to, and we don't need to change things just to beat up our ass and say how tough we are.
Especially in these next two, next year and the 26, 27 year.
So I'd be happy to accept Jim's motion, but with the caveat that we're going to have a discussion and decide who's going to discuss which department lines, okay? So if Jim, you'd like to continue your motion, I'll have you make
Whatever I said last time, just change the name of the town to the school. I move that we recommend to the planning board the school CIP program as presented in the matrix.
Seconded by Jim.
Right here.
He was right there, ready to go. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Unanimous vote. Make for the record, Joanne, it was unanimous vote on both matrix.
So the blood's in all our hands. That's what it
So at this point, I would ask for volunteers, starting with Brad, on which departments Brad would like to speak to. Because you've done them in the past, you may feel comfortable speaking to those departments as you have done in the past. So
Well, one year I got, by default, I wound up doing, what, 4 or 5, I don't know.
well, how many do we have?
How many do you want to do this?
How many do we have?
So if we look at
You
the.
take
Up
them
to
all?
library,
Three,
sewer, and Parks and
four,
Rec.
5, 6, 7,
1, 2,
8. I count 8 tabs in my book.
7. I have 7, because I have admin, Parks and
I
Rec.
do, I just count little pink, purple tabs right here.
Oh, I'm just going off of who the presentations were.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tabs.
Because I just have who the presentations were.
I understand that, Samantha, but I mean, this is admin, this is fire, library, park, police, public works, school, and sewer. Maybe something's not right on that thing there somehow.
Yeah,
No, I just can't count.
Right.
Are you on the budget committee?
Well, we're gonna decide. Don't, Brad doesn't determine, he just proposes.
How many
All
was
right,
there?
so there's,
2.
how many people would like to come to the planning board meeting and make a presentation? Brad, would you like to come?
I will do Parks and
Samantha, would you
Rec.
like to
I
come?
would love to come.
Jack, would you like to
I
come?
will come.
Jim, would you like to
I
come?
would be elated.
So that's 2 each. And Colleen gets a pass. Unless you feel strongly about one and you can take one and someone else
Well,
can take one.
invariably, one of us won't be able to come, so
wanna go?
we have somebody in reserve.
Well,
We have a backup,
I'll
we
pinch hit.
have a bullpen.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm
We'll give you 20 minutes
gonna
warning.
take my matrix here.
So is
No, I'm
that
gonna
the
take-
final meeting on the 15th, or it's no, the planning board meeting's on a different day,
That's in
Planning board meeting is
September.
September the 12th.
September.
So we would not have an August
Right.
15th meeting if we
Okay.
progress this way. So Brad, tell me the ones you're gonna do. I'm gonna write your names next to the, my lead sheet here. What are you doing?
I'll do Parks and Rec and
There's
sewer.
Brad. And
Sewer,
sewer? Samantha?
I would like to do DPW and the library. Big one or little?
I'm gonna go to Edie.
DDV.
Jack,
I-
you wanna do the school, Jack?
I'll do the school.
Okay. Colleen, would you like to do one, or would you like to take a pass?
No, I'll do one.
Okay, what would you like to do?
I'll take police.
Okay. And that leaves fire for you, Jim. Is that all right with you?
That's fine. In administration?
And admin, yes, you're right. They're way up the top.
You don't get one?
That's okay with me. Got enough to do.
Jim is a selects rep, has his own agenda to handle with this Board of Selectmen, I think.
He's got a board of selectmen and it has
Sewer.
this board to go to.
He's also
we
the
have Parks
sewer
and Rec.
department guy.
He goes to sewer,
So, yeah.
he's all meeting.
I don't feel
guy.
We're giving you one night off in
I don't feel
September.
left out at
And
all.
my job is to write the letter, the report.
Yeah, and just take the one we've done the last few years.
I've got a whole bunch of them in my file cabinet. Just change a couple days and dates and
Because
and I'll say it on TV.
No, nobody reads it.
Well, it's just part of my presentation.
Do you want something formal?
Pardon me?
Do you want something like a formal presentation? Would you like something printed?
No, I have them from when I did them in years past. I just-
I wasn't sure like when we present.
No, when we present.
Well, when you present,
I
I'm
don't
gonna,
want to say.
No, we-
when you present, you're going to, I'm gonna introduce you and you're gonna say, you can give us the summary of the Parks and Rec.
That's just what I've done before. I've
And-
given this summary.
Just like last year.
And I won't elaborate, well,
We only
I
wanted
will
to-
mention, that's it.
The only thing, if there's something that you'd like to mention, that's fine, but brevity is one of my mottos at planning board.
What we treated as a chance to educate, so we've mentioned outlying things.
Yes.
But said, it's not, but it's nothing that is coming up now, but you should know it's,
Just know it's down the pipeline.
yeah, it's mostly if all the thousands of people watch.
Like for me, 'cause that's one
Well, most of our departments are annual reoccurring expenses, like vehicles and projects and things. It's the police building at 31 million out a few years.
The
It's the
school
school
out.
building, it's the
Which they
school
put
bond.
on, that's the one that needs to be
Those are the
because,
ones that if you want to briefly say, look, this is 5 years away, but we're just letting you know that it's in the matrix and it's being discussed.
well, that's what Scott said, he put it in as a middle school for a placeholder where it seems like it's more gonna be an elementary school usage. But he figured, ask more and back it down later, or the prices all go up. by that
It's gonna
time.
be something, it's gonna cost a bunch.
Now,
Yeah, it's gonna,
if I remember,
exactly. Any
we
school
don't really
building, a
touch,
lot of
we
money.
don't even touch on vehicles.
Well, I think we have to answer
Briefly.
Samantha's question, anticipate that, how come they have so few miles? Every year we.
Well, Jim, I went and looked in the matrix and sewer department and fire are the only two that put the mileage in.
Yeah, no, and I think it's worth pointing out, but the board's heard it, the planning board's heard it enough that we don't have to beat it.
The planning board probably will not question anything about mileage or anything, so if you could say simply the police department is looking for 3 new vehicles, that would be the summary, that's all the summary they need to hear. Highway department is looking for 5 new vehicles, it's an expectation that they've heard year after year after year to be nothing new or shocking.
I think the highlight of that subject would be that they're switching over to Tahoes.
I don't think that's even necessary, to be quite honest,
I was gonna
because
say,
I don't think that's even,
now that'll open a can of worms up for somebody.
yeah,
who
that
works
could
for-
start another Facebook chat. So
Oh my
let's,
God.
let's stick to the projects for this upcoming year. DPW wants to do some box culvert repairs or something like that, in your presentation?
They got rid of the bridge.
Yeah.
They
So
did.
everybody accepts their assignments, thank you,
Sure.
okay?
And that's a 7 o'clock meeting,
7 o'clock, and generally it's one of the first items on the agenda,
yes.
because that way people can get out of there.
What do you mean?
Can I get out
There's
of there?
nothing, no, nothing more,
We don't get that.
nothing more entertaining than a
Right.
planning board meeting.
So,
Select board.
just to cover the Thursday, August 15th agenda was for callbacks and deliberative. We have elected that there are no callbacks, and our deliberations have been concluded. If necessary, there's a big parentheses right there now.
Is there any reason we need to keep the old matrix? Can we recycle them?
I only keep them just so I can use them as a document if I want to look back, that's all.
I usually keep them for a year and
That's
then-
well,
That's
we know,
okay.
this is, we had one
Yeah.
in May.
Would you like to know how long I look back at them? One day, about 8 years ago, I went down the basement,
And
and
you
I
found them in a box.
I found 11 of these binders in a pile filled with the stuff. I filed everything, and I brought Patty all the binders back.
Yeah, I've got-
To
I was
be
gonna ask
reviewed.
if,
Speaking of that,
the
Patty is
binders-
going to, once we're done, ask for the binders back.
And
Yeah,
I think we should give them back
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's one less expense
Right.
that the town has to pay to buy new binders every
and I,
year.
I give you
So,
that.
Yeah.
so is that the answer? Cause I got like a stack of school
I
board
would like-
papers right now that's growing every.
Yeah.
I would like
Put that on
anyone,
revenue, offsetting revenue from
I
other
would like
binders.
anyone
My house.
who has these binders at home that are just taking up space, dump them out, leave the tabs in them for Patty, and bring them back and she will recycle them.
That was my bad, I brought them back without the tabs, and she,
This is our call to action.
Brad, I bring back
Bring back
Patty,
your old binders.
I
We
bring
are-
Patty my
we are
planning
doing
board
our
packets with my address on them that have been ripped open and she retakes them and reuses
and
them.
I'm gonna leave that in there too. Cause I mean,
that needs to be
I'm
back
coming
on next
back.
year, yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for their hard work on this project and I appreciate everyone's help and
I like doing it because I'm, well, you know, as you all are involved in the community and see the big picture. And if you have a question, it doesn't necessarily have to be addressed here, it can be addressed also.
This is one of my absolute favorite things. Thank you.
volunteering is becoming a dead item in America. and I'm
Oh.
glad
I love the
everybody
budget
here-
committee too, like it's so much.
I am glad everyone
It's
here is
fun.
willing to volunteer. Do I have any
Never seen-
other business for capital improvement committee? Therefore, I need a
Never sit
motion.
next,
I'll
never
motion
sit
to
next to you again.
adjourn.
Every
Motion
time I
by
call
Brad to
Jim.
adjourn,
Second.
seconded by Colleen. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Sorry,
Aye.
next time, but I
Opposed?
should have been late.
Abstention.
Yeah, so-
Jim, are you voting?
No, it's talking.
Yeah, I voted,
Okay.
yeah, I said
All in
yes.
favor say
I
aye.
raised his hand.
Aye.
Aye.
You know what I'm gonna
GTV,
have?
thank you very much. We are done.